Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Everybody, this is take 2. We'll see how many of these we go. We're not doing like a big anniversary show this year. No one really wanted to do one, and we're all busy. We usually have 10 guests come in, and it's just a big thing. So we're kind of skipping it this year. I'm just going to do this alone, which sucks because I hate being on video by myself. Let's get cracking. I'm looking at a teleprompter, by the way. This is kind of weird. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera, that's why. I should probably move that up so it's looking at the camera. I don't know. This past year, we saw a lot of awesome guests, familiar faces as well as new guests. Some of the new ones. I got to meet Kids on Fire from Seattle and have them on. An amazing band. You should check them out. Flatfoot 56, a band I've been listening to for 20 years. It was amazing to have them on. And then in 2023, I discovered the Iron Roses, and I had a chance to speak with them in 2024, and that was a phenomenal conversation. Hopefully all these guests will come back at some point, right? We had returns this past year. Jesse Ahern came back to talk about a new single that he had out. Arya from Coffin Salesman returned to talk about Dream of Fire, which just dropped recently. And then I had pieces of Your Friends in Hell on before, but I had a chance to have all of them on at once. That was awesome as well. You know, there's a bunch of guests, obviously, and they're all great in their own way. So make sure, if you haven't listened, make sure you go back and check out some of them. I have a good time doing this podcast, just not when I'm alone staring at a camera. I don't have a good time then. We had some new shows. You know, the Monday show is always the flagship show, right? And then we have the little offshoots that I drop on Fridays here and there, like the Struggling Artist Turntable. That is a show that's been going on for a couple years now. However, in 2024, Shotgun from Your Friends in Hell got us a new logo for the turntable, which is awesome. He does amazing work. We brought the artist spotlight. We changed it a little bit. I did more of like a Q&A and then like kind of weaved it together. I love doing that stuff. I love doing that audio editing. We don't do them often because a lot of times the band or the musician just wants to come on and talk on the podcast, and that's fine too. The artist spotlight, I do that if we have guests that are like dropping stuff all the time, you know, like, hey, let's do this instead of having you on once a month to talk about it, you know. It's a cool little project. I got to exercise my editing skills with it, and I really did enjoy doing that. They're not too often, right? We don't do those too often. They're like the struggling with ourselves one. We don't get it. We don't do that too often. But one thing we did in 2024 is we opened up the struggling with myself, the struggling with ourselves, and I take emails, and amazing. People that reached out, and we did a couple of those this past year. You know, I don't have all the answers, but like if I can relate to something and give you a different perspective, that's awesome, you know. And just to know you're not the only one struggling with something is pretty cool too. you know? So we opened it up to everybody to write in, to text or leave a voicemail, you know? And I appreciate the people that did do it this past year. And then a new show. We had a new show, completely new show, called Underground Noise. This was like a 5 to 6 minute episode. We tried it out in 2024. It's a lot of work. Think of MTV News, right? But just like for local or independent artists. It was a lot of work. I love doing it. I just didn't have the time to research the news, to record, edit it, to get it all together. It took about 8 hours for 6 minutes worth of audio, which, you know what? That's great. But it's not my job. You know what I mean? Like, I have other things I have to do. So it was tough to keep it going. However, I believe it will be out already. We're starting it again to see how it works. Aria from Coffin Salesman has taken the helm as host of Underground Noise as well as researcher. And if I've come across something, I throw it his way as well. So the Underground Noise started last year, and we're gonna try to keep it going this year. We're trying to do a lot of things. I'm doing as much as possible helping bands, trying to help bands, like, get their stuff out there. Like, I love you guys to death, and I want everybody to hear you. That's why I'm always asking for things. I'm always like, hey, give me, like, if you got a show coming up, send me a flyer, you know, and it doesn't happen often. I need you guys to interact. I'm trying to help. I really am. I'm not doing this for self-gain. I'm doing this for you because I believe in your art, and I want the masses to hear it. I really do. Other things we ended up doing this year: video clips, animation clips. Jeff, like I said, has been putting the turntable episode on YouTube. Chris got us on TikTok like 2 years ago, but we never used it. I started using it once I started making clips. I guess that's going away. So who knows where we're going to land. I don't know what the next big thing is going to be, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. The podcast was nominated for the third time for the BMAs. I actually I had a chance to go this year. This is the first year that we've been nominated that I didn't have COVID. That was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I hung out with Jeff, hung out with some amazing people, got to see some amazing artists perform. I'm not a big awards guy. Like, I do appreciate the fact that we were recognized, right? It's cool when you put work into something and people see it and they recognize you for it. And I do like that. I really do. We did another struggling artist studio show. The artist known as Tim, the amazing Tim Nave, was on tour, needed a place to play on a Saturday night, and I told him, come to my house. You can stay here. Thank you to Michael Kane and to Chris from Mass Spy. He opened the show up for us. We raised some money for Tim. I appreciate you guys. It was a good time. We had a big turnout too. We had like 35. I think at one point we had like 35, 40 people at my house, which if you know me personally, you know that doesn't happen. No one's ever here. Just me and my dog, you know. One of my favorite things this past year was I was asked to MC the Coffin Salesman record release show, and I had a blast doing it. It was a lot of fun to help out and be part of a special night like that. We migrated the podcast to the website. This helped tremendously with some of the things we have going on in 2025. If you're listening to this, like audio wise, then you already know. You already know how to get to the podcast. If you're not, you're seeing a clip and saying, how come you haven't had a podcast episode since April? Well, that's because you are looking at the archive. I did everything I could to let everybody know that we were jumping the podcast to a new feed. The archive is still available for everybody to listen to. It would have been too much work to migrate 200 and something episodes over. If you were following us or subscribed to us and all of a sudden you haven't gotten an update since April of 2024, it's because you are following the archive. So type in the Struggling Artist Podcast into your favorite podcast thing, platform, streamer, whatever, and you'll see there are two shows. There's the archive, and it says archive. Not only does it say archive, hold on, I got beef right now because someone reached out to me recently and they're like, I just didn't think you were doing stuff anymore. In the beginning of every episode on the archive, it says what's going on. It says that we moved it. You can still listen to us anywhere. But you just have to, if you were following us since before we switched over in April of 2024, you have to go and find the new show. That's all. It's the same name. Boom. That's it. That's all you got to do. So that was the biggest thing. It's going to help us do a lot of things. The website is awesome. All right. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I made it in one night in a 12-hour shift at work and we had nothing going on. And the reason why I say it's awesome because I'm setting things up for you. All you got to do is email me your tour flyer and I will put it on there and boom. That's it. That's all you got to do. How easy is that? Like I said, 2025 is going to be the year of interaction, folks. I need you all to interact. I need your help. I'm trying to do a lot of things for you, your bands, you artists out there. I'm trying to help as much as I can, but you can't do it alone, right? I can't go and find all your stuff that you're going to be dropping this year and then write up something for you. You got to send it to me. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Where are we supposed to send this, Trev? Well, you could email me, trev@thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. That's the best way to get me your information. You want to come on the podcast, promote your stuff as well? Same thing, trev@thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. You can Instagram message or whatever, but the chances of me seeing it are very slim. I do not keep notifications on my phone for that stuff because I can't stand social media. I am in charge of it again, and that's just the way it's got to be. Now, you got to email me. So email trev@thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. Okay. Tell me what's going on. Send me that flyer of your tour. I will put it on my website. I promise. It takes 2 seconds for me to do that. And it takes you 2 seconds to email it to me, right? You've already made the damn thing. You might as well have it somewhere where people might see it, you know? Oh, also, you can contact us through the hotline, the Struggling Artist Hotline. 774-570-1552. I know some of you have used it, and that's awesome, and I appreciate that. You can leave voicemails or text those lines. I'm not going to sell your information. I'm not going to call you back. I won't even put what you wrote or said on the podcast if you don't want me to. Tell me we suck. I don't care. I'll put that on there, you know? It's just... This is what I want to do. I want to help promote you guys, and I need help. I can't do it. I can't do all the legwork. You gotta give me your flyer. I guess that's where I'm coming down to. Another thing we're doing is we're going to be looking for sponsors. We have sponsorship openings. We're going to be able to run ads. If you want to be a sponsor of the podcast, Trev@thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. Best way to get a hold of me for that. And let's talk. I have sponsorship packages. If you're a venue and you're playing and you're doing shows all the time, and especially if you're in this area, right? We've got a lot of New England listeners. Hit me up and we can work something out. Are you a label? You want to be a sponsor and have me do, reads about your label or ads. You guys seen everything I've done. I've done promos for bands like Off With Their Heads. We promoted one of their tours. I've done it for tons of local bands. All you got to do is reach out and talk. I throw you the sponsorship thing and we'll go from there. I'm a sellout. This machine called the Struggling Artist Podcast needs to be able to fund itself because I'm running low on funds for it. And with that said, we're going to push the Patreon a lot this year. I'm going to push the record club. I know that's not technically the podcast, but it's adjacent to it. I'm going to push these things. So one, I want to push the record club because I want to keep it going. I want the podcast to keep going too. That's why we're pushing the Patreon and stuff like that, because the contributions we get from there help us with upgrades, and it helps us with, doing events and doing all the things I want to try to do for you all. Like, it would be awesome to be able to throw a show and like being able to have an event like the evening with Michael Caine. I would love to do that again. Chris is itching to get behind the camera again and do something like that. But this stuff costs a lot of money, so I can't fund it all. That's why I'm asking you to join the Patreon, patreon.com/podcast TSA. It's not expensive. It's really not. I'm also looking to advertise out for the show. I'm learning how to do that kind of stuff a little bit more. The record club too. I need to get it out there more. That's a Victoria Weislag, who wrote an amazing piece on record subscription services and mentioned us in the Boston Globe this year. Thank you, Vicky. You were awesome for that. We got, some new people join, which was awesome. What else is there to come this year? Full episode videos will be on YouTube, clips as well. This is our 5th year. I ran this thing without really any kind of advertisements. You guys don't hear, unless you have a free version of Spotify or something like that. So if you start hearing ads, it's because I don't want it to go away. And if that deters you, then join the Patreon and you'll have ad-free listening there. I don't want to have random advertisements on my podcast, but if I got to, I'd rather have ones for venues. Those are kind of fun. I make them myself and everything, but I'm talking about like the commercials you would hear. I don't want to have to do that, but you know, if I want to keep this thing going, then that's what I got to do. I'm not asking you for a handout. Maybe I am. Go to Patreon. Patreon.com/podcast TSA. Join the goddamn Patreon. Come on. Give me your money. No, I'm kidding. I don't want your money. I just want to be able to grow this thing. That's all. That's all we're doing here. You know, I'm not like quitting my job to be a full-time podcaster. I still got to get up and work every night, you know. That's it. That's all of it, guys. Thank you, everyone, again, for being listeners of the show and everyone that interacts and reaches out. It really does. It means a lot to me. It means so much. I make sure I say it every episode. I really do. Because, like, it's without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. And artists, like, I love that you listen to the show. Let's work together. Let's do something. You want to promote something? Come on the show. All you got to do is reach out and get on the list. You know, give me your goddamn flyers. Give me your flyers. God damn it. Give me your flyers. All right. That's it. We'll see you guys. Goodbye.